Hi, welcome to Infodumpies. My name's Brianne. I'm autistic, I have AuDHD, my pronouns are she, her, and butternut? I hardly know her.
Hi, I'm Violet. I have ADHD. My pronouns are she, her, and back in the day, they used to call me Max Headroom, but not for the reason you think, and I'm not that old.
That does sound like an insult someone would throw my way for having a giant head and a little body.
Yeah, honestly, same though. I mean, I have a giant head and a giant body. We would both need Max Headroom, although I would need
I
also
look like
Max
a
Body
Funko
Room.
Pop. I look like a Funko Pop got to be a lady for a day.
Oh, and I love you.
Thank you, I love you.
It works for me.
Well, today's a mini dumps episode.
Yay!
And if you are a new dumper around here, which I think during our previous episode with Max, I was like, maybe the people who listen to this are dumpers.
Yeah.
If you're an experienced dumper, you know what these are. If you are a new dumper, mini dumps are where Violet and I both have topics to discuss in an episode. They're good topics. They're just not enough for our usual full-length episode, but they're still worth discussing. So Violet and I both take mini dumps together, and that we don't tell each other the topics beforehand. So sometimes we get a very strange array of things.
Hell yeah.
Do you mind if I go first?
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
Well, the first thing we're going to talk about are some accidental inventions.
Oh, fun.
And one of these saved my life.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
owe my life.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to think of an accidental invention off the top of my head, and I cannot think of anything, which is unusual for me. I feel like I should know one.
Well, some of these are going to be chill. A lot of accidental inventions are pharmacological. So
Oh,
I
really?
didn't cover all of the pharmacological ones, and then some of them are things that we probably now regret. But some of them are really cool, like the smoke detector.
Oh.
In the 1930s, there was a Swiss physicist named Walter Jaeger, and he was trying to invent a sensor that could detect poison gas. Now, when I give you the time range for a lot of these accidental inventions, you'll notice that we had a lot of stuff we were working on during World War II, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So it didn't detect poison gas specifically, but it did pick up the smoke from his cigarette while he was working on his inventions.
You know, if you're working on something to detect poison gas, you'd think maybe smoking a cigarette might interfere with your work.
But a crisp, cool Lucky Strike is exactly what he needs for his difficult workday.
You know what? You're right. You got me there. Nothing beats the crisp, cool flavor of a Lucky Strike. You got me, Brianne.
It's filtered.
Wow.
They're mentholated. They're for babies.
Oh yeah. Mentholated cigarettes are for like, you just got born here, have a menthol.
But anyway, so by the 1950s, most industrial spaces had them, but they were still really expensive to produce. But in the 1970s, the technology became cheaper, and in 1977 alone, more than 12 million smoke detectors were sold.
Oh, wow. So they got real cheap real fast, and everyone said, yep, we need this.
And everyone said, yes, I would love that. So now 9 in 10 houses have them, and they reduce your risk of dying in a fire by more than half.
Hell yeah.
This is not the invention that saved my life.
I was going to say, I don't think you've ever been in a house fire, that to my knowledge.
I have not. No, this is not the one that saved my life.
Knock on wood.
This is also a PSA that if your smoke alarm is chirping, stop recording a fucking TikTok and go change the batteries in your smoke alarm. I swear to sweet baby Jesus. That's one of my most common, noises that sets my autism off to no end. I'm immediately in sensory distress, so I'll be like, an interesting video, and then I hear that beep in the background.
Yeah.
And you all just live with that.
Honestly, it sends me into a rage. You could have Gandhi making a frickin' Instagram reel or whatever, and the smoke alarm goes off in the background, and I'm like, I can't take anything you say seriously. You must be incompetent.
Social media has made me realize just how many people just let their smoke alarms do that thing.
I recognize that, for a lot of people, it just doesn't bug you or whatever or something, but oh my God.
It reduces your risk of dying in a fire by more than half, and it's telling you it's hungry and it needs fuel to save you from a potential fire.
Right.
Feed it batteries.
Right.
Next invention, and as soon as I say this one, you unfortunately will know it's the one that saved my life, is warfarin.
Oh, yeah, that's a blood thinner, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the most commonly one of the oldest anticoagulants we have on the market.
That
For the
makes sense.
listeners who don't know,
She got chunky salsa blood.
I got chunky salsa blood. I have a genetic clotting disorder that almost offed me right before my 20th birthday. And I'm mostly fine unless I have some other extenuating circumstance that increases my likelihood to clot, which is unfortunately a lot of things. Oral contraceptives and COVID and surgery and all kinds of other things. But I have what's called a factor 2 prothrombin gene mutation. I've only ever met one person who wasn't a very old person in a support group who also had it, and she's also Puerto Rican and also AuDHD. So it's a really high likelihood I'm actually related to this person.
Yeah, and
it's more common.
Oh, sorry. And I was going to say, yes, I have made the factor 2 prothrombin joke before. Don't worry.
Prothrombin, yeah. But essentially, my blood produces too much of a protein called prothrombin. So if I don't have anything else increasing my likelihood to clot, it's just kind of floating around in there. But if I have, surgery and I'm not on special medicine, then my blood's like, time to clot. Mine is actually more common in the Hispanic community. My hematologist said I check people for this every week. I've been practicing for a decade, and I've never diagnosed someone with yours. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, cool.
He's
fancy.
like, I printed some stuff off the internet. And I was like, well, that's not good.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you know it's bad when that happens.
Yeah. He was a chill hematologist, though. But anyway, so warfarin is the blood thinner that when I had my pulmonary embolisms, I was on for 6 months, and it shrank the blood clots in my lungs and offered me the opportunity to heal and breathe again.
Wow. Who would have thought a Star Trek character would have invented this?
Worf saved my life.
Yeah.
The man couldn't even beat a falling barrel. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So in the 1920s, there was a mysterious illness that was afflicting cattle that were eating sweet clover in Wisconsin. It was hay made from sweet clover. And there was a farmer whose cattle were really afflicted with this illness. They were getting internal bleeding, and even the ones who seemed outwardly healthy were dying during routine veterinary procedures that should not have caused that much bleeding. And it was affecting him so badly that he drove to the University of Wisconsin to see if he could find someone to help him get some answers.
Damn.
He took some blood so they could have a sample. This guy sounded very smart. He was like, I know what they're going to need, so I'm going to take it to him.
Yeah. So what's wrong with my cows?
Yeah, he's like, what's wrong with my cows? So they found that the mold and the clover were having some sort of reaction, that the mold was changing the clover. And they hadn't pinpointed what it was yet, but they were calling it sweet clover disease. And it continued to be a problem for farmers in the Midwest and through central Canada throughout the 30s.
Wow. What a delightful name for a horrible illness.
A horrible way to go, adorable name.
Yeah.
In their studies, scientists found that the clover contained a chemical called coumarin, which made the clover smell really sweet, but taste bitter. And they discovered that when the coumarin in the sweet clover had certain mold growing on it, there was a chemical reaction that changed the coumarin into an anticoagulant.
Oh. Called now warfarin, I assume.
And also another name, but yes. So they had kind of an answer. They hadn't been able to isolate it until 1939, and they isolated a really minuscule amount of the pure substance that the mold had changed the coumarin into. And they called it warfarin, which is a combo of the acronym for the Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, who funded the development, and coumarin.
Oh, interesting.
So you would think, okay, cool, after that we started human trials and people started taking it. No. After much trial and error to try to synthesize it, it finally hit the market in 1948 as a rat poison.
Oh. Okay.
It wasn't until 1954 when it was approved for human use under the name Coumadin. And because of that, I am alive today. I'm
thankful for that farmer for saying, save my cows.
I had my blood clots in 2010. And back then, I basically had Coumadin I could take and then heparin, which was very expensive, didn't have a generic, was done in shots. Those were my, like, 2 options. Now, there are whole new classes of blood thinning drugs that are a lot easier on people. So, like, when I was on Coumadin, you have to go to the doctor every week to get your blood drawn. Every single fucking week.
Oh, God.
So they can adjust your dosage. Because the stuff I eat, my stress, all of that stuff can change how well it worked. And now people have blood thinners they can take that don't require them to go in every single week.
That's
and are
nice.
so much easier on people. And just in the time since I went through that, so much progress has been made.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy for
Less than
other
20
people with
years.
chunky blood. Okay, so the next one
Yeah.
was an accidental invention that maybe we should have not accidentally invented.
Uh-oh.
Because in more recent history, we've discovered that it's kind of gnarly, but it's Teflon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I know Teflon's bad, but I don't know much else about it.
It is a forever chemical, a polyfluoroalkyl substance. Now, among the PFAs that exist, it's a polymer, so it's not as easily broken down. But that's like saying, okay, well, this gun isn't as deadly as the other guns.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
just a handgun. 50
it's
cal.
a 22.
Sure.
It's for a child. Calm down. Like that kind of a thing. So it's not great. But this is not going to be about how it's not great and about forever chemicals. It's just going to be about how it's an accident. And it's in so much. So in 1938, a group in 1938, just looking at the time again, when we're messing with chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
And world events, a group of chemists at DuPont were opening a cylinder that should have contained tetrafluoroethylene. And when they opened the cylinder, nothing came out.
Oh, I hate when that happens. All the time. My
empty cylinders.
tetrafluoroethylene. My cylinders. Ah.
My cylinders. But it weighed more than an empty cylinder should have weighed. So they knew something was in there.
Curious.
Gas didn't come out, but something was in there.
A fart.
So they cut it open, and they found that the cylinder was coated in a slippery white powder. And instead of just throwing it away, they conducted tests on the powder, and they discovered that the gas had spontaneously polymerized. And it's a polymer that didn't break down at ultra-high heat, and it didn't dissolve in acid that was strong enough to dissolve human bones.
Oh, that's... okay, that's pretty wild to accidentally do that.
Yeah, just to go, whoops, didn't find my gas, but look what accidentally is in here. So now it's in non-stick pans, waterproof raincoats, grease-proof fast food wrappers.
Grease poop.
And even grease poop, fast poop.
Grease poop, fast poop burgers.
Grease-proof fast food wrappers. And even some piano keys to keep them from squeaking.
The fast food wrappers seems like an exceptionally bad idea.
Exceptionally bad idea. Exceptionally bad. That's Teflon.
I'm going to do some Googling later about, like, just how much stuff has Teflon in it, I think.
Oh, it's a lot.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's part of why we were able to do nuclear bombs.
Oh no.
It's bad. Yeah,
Oops.
I was like, that could be a whole episode about why Teflon was a mistake. You're going to be hard as a rock for the final accidental invention.
I don't think I could be more hard already. Just looking at you.
Well, you could if you had some Viagra.
Oh, shit. Oh, hey.
You're also going to laugh at this. I already anticipated it. I even put an M dash here so I could go, pause for Violet. It was originally developed to treat angina.
Oh, it treats angina still. All right, it does.
Treats my angina just fine. But angina is a condition where the vessels that supply blood to the heart constrict. So a lot of the times people will think they're having a heart attack. So while it didn't treat angina well at all, it did produce a lot of fucking boners for the study participants that had wieners. And Pfizer said, oh, people will pay for boners. And now it's become one of the most profitable medications that Pfizer has ever produced. That's some accidental inventions.
I do think it's really funny that they invented it to cure angina, and then they realized it could fix people with boner problems, and they said immediately release it to the market. Whereas male birth control, I say male birth control, but birth control for people with penises, they go, it's got some
Too many side effects.
It's got
Too many side effects.
Nah.
Meanwhile, oral contraceptives are like, hey, it may make you literally want to kill yourself.
Yeah. Here's a list of potential side effects. It's 17
and have blood clots.
chapters long.
And have blood clots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
personally,
ridiculous.
I have experienced those side effects. I do not recommend them.
That could be a whole other episode.
But yeah, that's my first topic.
So my first topic, I was thinking about a few bands that I like and listening to some music recently. And I was listening to some music by the Monkees and the Beatles. I don't really listen to the Beatles that often, but it'll make sense for the joke I'm setting up. I wanted to find a band where they weren't just named after animals, but bands where they actually had animals in the band. So I've compiled a little list of bands with actual animals in the band. Yes. I'm so excited for this one.
I hope there's a horse.
I did have to limit this somewhat because there are, and I have an honorable mention for one that's very fun and cool and adorable, but the animals are not actually making the sounds. And I should also mention, I could not find one, and I tried. I could not find one where a band member was a horse. I tried. I'm so sorry.
God.
That just means we need to make it happen, people. If you're listening and you have a horse, give him
I
sent you
the listing for those horses as listings for horses on Craigslist. We could make it happen.
Yeah. Bidding starts at $1 for that one you sent.
Bidding starts at $1.
Where are we going to put a horse? I don't know, but they're going to be right next to a drum kit is where they're going to be, and a microphone.
Where are we going to put the horse? In front of a guitar. Figure it out.
Up on
Who's
stage,
an excuse?
So yeah, I did some searching and did some research on musical groups that are composed of, or at least have one member that is an actual non-human animal. The first one I have on the list is Tuna and the Rock Cats.
Whoa.
Yeah. Tuna and the Rock Cats are a touring group of felines trained to play instruments. They're not great, I will say, as far as like human musicians go, but the fact that they are able to produce what sounds like kind of like music is amazing. My favorite.
If Yoko Ono's allowed to do it,
yeah,
so are these cats. So
honestly, they're giving Yoko a run for her money for sure.
Not difficult.
Not difficult. I will say my favorite member of the band is Tuna, the lead, who plays cowbell, and it's giving like Blue Oyster Cult vibes. That's the first one. Next on the list is the Woofers and Tweeters Ensemble. Yes. So
these names are so good.
Very, very good. There was only one album that ever came out of the Woofers and Tweeters Ensemble, and it is a Beatles cover band. Yeah, at least as far as I can see, there's only one album, but Beetle Barkers is a 1983 album released by the Woofers and Tweeters Ensemble, and it consists of dogs barking, a parody of popular Beatles songs. The guitar and other instrumental tracks are performed by essentially anonymous, like uncredited backing musicians from Germany, but they are actually very similar to the original Beatle recordings. So it's like, I listened to some of this, and it's really the only way you can tell that, oh, this is a Beatles cover from the backing track. But it's rough. And I should say,
it's rough.
Yeah, it's rough, huh? I should say, it is the Woofers and Tweeters Ensemble, which, by the way, in case you don't know, a woofer, a subwoofer, right, is a type of speaker, and a tweeter, another type of speaker. The album also features songs with parakeets playing music, and lambs, and a cat.
Incredible.
Yeah. All of the animal sounds were sampled from real animals, except for the howling dogs, specifically, which for some reason were recorded by a dog impersonator, which is a job I would love to have.
A dog impersonator?
Apparently. It's a thing, apparently.
Nowadays, we just call those furries.
So the album was a collaboration between sound engineer Roy Nicholson and a producer named Gene Pearson. Nicholson had begun experimenting with animal sounds in Emu Emulator 1, an early sampler, And Pearson jokingly asked him if he could play Paperback Writer, a song that I am not familiar with, but you might be.
Paperback Writer. Yeah, it's not their best, but I remember it.
Yeah. Pearson jokingly asked him if he could play that song using dogs barking. He did, and soon Pearson had commissioned him to create a whole album, which was created over the span of about 2 weeks on 8-track.
If I had disposable income.
Honestly,
if I won the lottery,
that's the kind of shit I would be doing. Right. There is one band on this list that is very big, and I don't mean in the popularity sense necessarily, although we could fix that,
size?
Listeners. What's that?
In size?
Physical size. This is the Thai Elephant Orchestra. Yes. The Thai Elephant Orchestra consists of as many as 14 elephants living in northern Thailand.
It's like a pachyderm polyphonic spree.
It's adorable. There's videos online, by the way. You should look them up.
Oh, I'm going to look that up before I'm feeling sad later.
The elephants play music, essentially improvisational music, and they are using specially designed heavy-duty musical instruments like a giant drum that's super resilient and like cymbals and stuff. The orchestra was co-created by a conservationist named Richard Lair of the National Elephant Institute and the American musical artist and neuroscientist Dave Soldier.
Wow.
The Thai Elephant Orchestra have 3 albums.
Whoa.
Yeah, they have 3 CDs with an orchestra ranging in size from 6 to 14 elephants. And they also do live performances for visitors at the center.
This is a cool, like, all-elephant noise band.
Honestly, yeah, it's pretty sick. I'm assuming that because this is led by an elephant conservationist, that there's no, like, abuse going on. And I really don't think, but I tried to look up and be like, these are, like, well cared for elephants, right? It seems like it, but I don't know. Training animals to play instruments.
Elephants are so smart.
Yeah.
And enjoy
I know they like music.
Yeah, and enjoy all kinds of enrichment. I wouldn't doubt it if they just put them in there with the instruments and then rewarded them for interacting with them.
Yeah, probably. I hope that's the case.
I hope that's the case too.
Yeah. If it's not the case, then y'all need to get it together and be nice to these elephants. Now we're going to get into some of the more hardcore shit.
Whoa, like a snake?
Yeah. Not a snake, but I mean, well, I was going to say close, but not really. All of the next bands are either grindcore or heavy metal or something in that vein. Because sharks don't really make a lot of noise, I don't think.
Yet.
Chomp and blub?
Yet. Anyway, continue.
Yes?
I'm just trying to guess.
Anyway.
I'm just imagining an adorable animal grindcore band, and those are a snake and a shark are 2 that came to my head. Jabberjaw. Hello, Jabberjaw.
Okay, well, that's not a real shark.
Okay, not real to you.
Sorry, not real to me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't. He gets no respect at all, and I really should give him respect.
At all.
Dangerous Pigeons is a Ukrainian grindcore band featuring a lead pigeon vocalist.
And they're just up there going...
No, pigeons make all sorts of noises, like wild noises. I tried really hard to find some of their music to listen to, and I unfortunately could not, despite all of my trying. They're not on Apple Music. They're not on Bandcamp. They're not on anywhere that I could find, not on YouTube. And if you search Dangerous Pigeons on YouTube, you don't get music. You get videos of pigeons going nuts.
Other pigeons going ape shit.
Right. Originally, the band did not have an actual pigeon vocalist. The original vocalist was a woman named Mary, nicknamed Pigeon by the other band members, Owl and Pingui. They all had like little nicknames. But soon after the band was formed, they started making music. The lead pigeon realized that they needed a real pigeon on vocals, and they did that. Their recording of their debut album, Pigeon Wing, has brutal guitar sounds and dense bits supported by pigeon vocals. And I wish I could listen to this and understand
that.
Right? Because I'm like, is it coos, or is it like, are we talking squawks or like chicken like esque noises? I don't know what all sounds they can make, but I know they can make a lot. Next up is one that is probably a bit more fathomable: Insect Grinder. they've got a really small front man because it's a cricket.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is a Russian grindcore band with a cricket as a frontman, and they just did a song called Big Green Murderer on their debut album that features, get this, an alligator on guest vocals. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
but alligator sounds on a grindcore album absolutely do go, because I don't know.
absolutely.
I don't know if I'm just from the South, but I've heard plenty of alligators, and they have a real kind of sounds
yeah.
they make.
Oh,
that would absolutely go.
Next up, we have another bird, but this one is not the pigeon. This is a parrot. I'm talking about the band Hatebeak.
Hatebeak?
Yes. Have you heard of a band called Hatebreed?
Yeah.
This is Hatebeak.
Hatebeak.
Hatebeak is a death metal band formed by Blake Harrison, who is a member of a different grindcore band called Pig Destroyer. And
God.
yeah, the band features Waldo, a Congo African gray parrot.
He can actually say words.
He can absolutely. Hatebeak was born out of boredom, according to the creators. He basically said, and I quote, my friend who owns the parrot and Waldo learned these brutal growls. I don't actually know from where. We think some of it is mimicking water going down the drain, that we get some sort of guttural noise. So we're goofy dudes, and myself and Mark didn't have a band at the time, so we decided to put something together. Once we came up with the name Hatebeak, that was the big clincher.
You know what? Yeah, I get it. Once I had that name solidified, I'd be like, well, now I have to do it, don't I?
Yeah. I think Waldo does occasionally speak words, but for the most part,
just
from what I
light,
heard,
nice, cool guttural sounds.
Yeah, guttural parrot sound. They're actually pretty big. They've had several albums. They have the 2004 album Beak of Putrefaction, which is a spoof of the band called Carcass's 1988 album Reek of Putrefaction. It contains a title track called God of Empty Nest, which is a pun on Morbid Angel's God of Emptiness. There's also Bird Seeds of Vengeance, which is title borrowed from Nile 2000's album Black Seeds of Vengeance. And in 2015, they released their first full-length album, Number of the Beak, from Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast.
I love all their puns. Those tickle
right?
me.
It's so
That's
good.
really good.
So good. I have saved what I feel like is the best for last, the ones that you'll most be excited about, I would say. Next up, we have Canaanus. Canaanus is a New York death grind band. They were formed as a side project by members of a band called Most Precious Blood, a guitarist named Justice Brannon. There is Rachel Rosen and a drummer with a cool name called Colin Thundercurry, which is a cool last name. And 2 rescued female pit bull terriers, Budgie and Basil.
Oh my god.
I do have to say, the band was formed quite a long time ago, and unfortunately dogs don't live that long. So poor Budgie and Basil, God rest their souls. They were amazing dogs, but they are no longer with us. But they had a great message with their music. They sang about animal rights, vegetarianism, veganism, and trying to spread the word about adopting homeless animals. The whole purpose of the band is to spread those messages because Budgie and Basil are adopted rescue dogs. The whole idea behind Canaanus was giving people what the band's members assume people really want. All the death metal bands have dudes that are trying to sound like animals, so we figured we'd give people the real deal.
2 really good girls, and then when you say, let's open this pit up, and then you have a bunch of little pitties running around going,
right?
Falkio certainly does some noises that sound like they would belong on a metal album.
Absolutely, yeah. And they've actually collaborated with Hatebeak on an album called Now the Animals Have a Voice, which is really cool. They've also worked with another band that, to my understanding, does not have a animal member called Cattle Decapitation. They've got 3 releases in total now. I hope that someday someone can maybe pick up the Canaanus title. But until then, we have Pugtopsy.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Pugtopsy is fronted by Pupcake Lovbakken, an actual pug who is on vocals, and the rest of Pugtopsy is filled out by guitarist Jordan Boxell, Shan Dan, and drummer Casey Leotorp. This is another like grindcore death metal type band,
but with snotty, snorty pug sounds.
Oh yeah, so they have a music video that you can go watch right now for their song "Snorts of Sorrow," which is just amazing. They are also selling shirts, and the shirts are going to a nonprofit called Neuterhead Ace of Spades. A nonprofit group that assists pet rescue groups with spaying and neutering animals. So
the puns these people come up with are so good.
So good. So good. Go look up Pugtopsy. Even if you don't listen to the music, if you don't vibe with the music, just look up pictures. They're like Lofbakken is an adorable pug, and they're going and all this stuff on the mic and just going ham with it. And I am just, my heart. Yeah, I've got one more honorable mention really quick, and that is Lancelot Link and the Evolution Revolution.
Wow.
Lancelot Link and the Evolution Revolution were a chimpanzee band created in the 1970s for a TV show. They did not actually make the music, but they did technically sit at and play and handle real instruments. It's just the music that was overlaid on top was played by human musicians. So this is why I give them an honorable mention.
Honorable mention. They're not actually making the music themselves.
Correct. It's very cute though, because the band is dressed in like 1970s like Austin Powers-esque hippie style wigs. There is Lancelot Link
put a wig on
guitar.
A chimp.
Several chimps actually. So yeah, that's my first thing.
Well, my second topic is the Honeynut squash.
Oh, I love a Honeynut squash.
And it's
delightful.
It's something that you didn't have until pretty recent years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the Honeynut squash has only been available to the general public since 2015.
Is that right?
And that's to growers. It didn't start showing up into supermarkets until like 2017.
That's so wild. I don't know why. That's blowing my mind right now, because I really thought like surely it's a vegetable. It's been around forever.
No, people are doing freaky shit with vegetables.
Yeah, I mean, like cotton candy grapes I know are fairly new, I guess, but like squash?
I have been, so for those who don't know, I garden. My goal is to have our front and backyards producing food. I did a hell of a lot last year, and I've been working on my plans for spring for this year. And that includes deciding what seeds I'm going to order. And I'm ordering a couple things that are specifically bred for growing in small gardens. I was going to get things like, I'm going to get things like a columnar apple tree. And it's an apple tree that's only 2 feet wide and gets about 6 feet tall. It grows in a column. And then I'm also getting a type of cherry tree that only gets about 4 feet tall, and it's specifically bred to be smaller. So one of the things I wanted to get was Honeynut squash. And I was like, I know it's newer, but like, how new? Because I hadn't tried it until, I want to say, about 2020, when I saw it at a Sprouts, and I went, what are you? So for those of you, it's so cute. So for those unfamiliar, a Honeynut squash is a cultivar bred from the butternut and buttercup squash. It looks like someone shrank down a butternut squash and made it more orange. It's about half the size of a butternut. It's sweeter than a butternut. It has 2 to 3 times as much beta carotene as a butternut. And the skin is less fibrous and thin and smooth, and tastes better. So you don't really have to peel it. Hey, if you're if you're one of those people out there who's not peeling your butternut squash, that tastes ass, and I can tell that you left the skin on when you made that butternut squash soup. I can taste it.
Yeah.
Just because it blended up doesn't mean that it's fine. I can taste it. Bitter. It tastes ass, right?
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. I have had poorly made butternut squash soup at a restaurant of all places.
I've had it at someone's house, and I had to go, Oh,
This
good.
isn't extremely sour and bitter. It's fine.
Yeah. Notably, people don't like how sour and bitter the skin of a butternut is. And it's fibrous and it's like hard to chew. It's not good.
Yeah.
The Honeynut's origins start in the 1980s where Richard Robinson, a professor at Cornell, began breeding experiments for a better butternut.
Smart.
And when it comes to cool things we've done with fruits and vegetables, these folks at Cornell are absolutely spitting.
Yeah, almost as cool as the fun, cool stuff I do with fruit, in meaning you.
Oh, not quite that cool. Not the same kind of cool. This is a less sexy cool. Well, it's sexy in a different way. I think it's very sexy to make better fruits and vegetables.
And it does say nut somewhere in it. So
butternut. In the
butternut?
1980s,
Come on.
Cornell, who is responsible for a lot of the newer varieties and cultivars we have of fruits and vegetables, began breeding experiments for the butternut. Richard Robinson kind of fizzled out on that work for a while, and then in 2006, another professor at Cornell, Michael Mazurek, took interest in the cultivar and began refining it to try to make it something that was publicly available. Mazurek had been working on this. He was like, I'm doing okay. It's just not quite hitting, not quite doing what I need. And then he was invited to a dinner with other plant breeders from Cornell in 2009. He was invited to eat at a restaurant called Blue Hill and Stone Barn in Pocantico, New York. I wrote it down and I didn't think about how to say it, but sorry if you're from Pocantico, New York, and if I've said it wrong, I absolutely don't want you to tell me. At the dinner, Mazurek was taken on a kitchen tour by the head chef Dan Barber. And while in the kitchen, Barber grabbed a butternut squash and told Mazurek, if you're such a good breeder, why don't you make this thing taste good? Why don't you shrink this thing?
Wow.
And
what a challenge.
But Barber didn't know that Mazurek had already been working on the exact thing.
Wow, that's funny. Just independently, just like, hey, plant guy, these things suck. Make them better.
It.
Well,
I'm
as
on
a
it.
matter of fact.
So
it's like everyone collectively just recognize, like almost like a Mandela effect thing. Everyone just goes, hey, these things suck.
These suck. Let's make them better. These suck. Mazurek had run into issues because when he'd shown his squash to farmers in the lab, the farmers fixated on how small the squash was. To the farmers, a better version.
Sorry. When he showed his squash,
they said, why is this so little?
He fixated, why is this so small?
Why is this so little?
Oh, just a little.
Oh. So small. But to the farmers, they didn't understand why you would want a smaller version of a vegetable. Plants for them are typically grown for yield. So you want to grow more of them, you want to grow bigger ones. They're grown for yield rather than flavor. So Mazurek wasn't trying to fix yield, he was trying to fix flavor, texture, all of that. So instead of teaming up with farmers, like they had always done there at Cornell when developing new cultivars, he teamed up with Barber to help develop his squash further. This part horrified me. Previously, in the lab, scientists were microwaving their squash or steaming them in a casserole pan with water to cook them and test them. And Barber was like, yeah.
What are they testing for? How much of a mistake they can make?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Microwave butternut squash sounds awful.
And then just steamed butternut squash. If you like steamed vegetables,
water.
I don't want to kink shame. And if you boil your vegetables, I don't want to kink shame. But there are better ways to do that anyway. Yeah. So they were diluting the flavor with water, essentially. And this is the way they tested all new vegetables at Cornell.
And nobody said, hey, I'm a transfer student from Louisiana. Let me put a little flavor in here.
Yeah, nobody did.
Come on.
But you can tell they were testing for things like yield and growing more of them, and flavor was really an afterthought. So when Mazurek would finish a new iteration of the improved butternut squash, he would give it to Barber to cook because he's teaming up with a chef.
Smart.
So then Barber's method was to dry roast them at a high heat to let the insides caramelize.
Oh.
And the goal was
that's how you do it.
Yeah, and the goal, and that's the method they used to test the other iterations. it was made for roasting. And their goal was to make one that was sweet enough that you didn't have to add any sort of sweetener to it to make it taste sweet. It should have that sweetness itself. So when they tasted how sweet the final product was after it got caramelized, their whole tactic for breeding was, how well is it dry roasted? Which, if you haven't had a roasted Honeynut squash, I can eat
so
two of them shits in one sitting. They're so fucking good.
The times that you've made that, I have just been like, oh my God, this is so good.
The skin is tender and delicate. It caramelizes beautifully. It has a really small area for seeds even. So there's more squash than you think.
Yeah, it's like they just shrunk the seed area, really. The volume of seeds.
Yeah, they're delicious. So after they started working on it together, they went through all these iterations, roasted them, landed on one they felt really good about, and the general public was able to purchase the seeds starting in 2015.
Wow, that's so wild to me that the seeds became available to people as late as 2015. I mean,
right?
That's, oh my gosh, that's like 11 years ago.
I discovered something that is now influencing what I'm growing next year. The duo are not done.
Oh, shit.
Mazarek basically doesn't ever consider a cultivar done. And one of the issues with the Honeynut squash is that because the skin is so thin, after picking, it doesn't have as long of a storage life as other squash with thicker skin.
Oh, interesting.
So,
I didn't consider that.
Yeah, so like for me as a home gardener, a lot of the stuff I'm growing, I'm also considering how long it's going to last, how long I need to cure it. I'm considering storage, how I'm going to preserve these things. And one of my concerns about the Honeynut squash was that it doesn't store for very long. So the duo refined the Honeynut even more and have developed the 898 or Honey Patch squash.
Oh, what a cute name, Honey Patch.
Which is now available, and I'm going to be buying the seeds.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Mazarek noticed that the thin skin couldn't be stored as long, and he wanted to develop one that had a thicker skin, but still very tender, edible, delicious skin.
Yeah.
So still make the skin something you're happy to eat, won't ruin your soup, but also you can store them longer. So with the
Mazarek, you mad lad, you've done it again.
Right. So with the Honey Patch squash, the skin is still smooth, less fibrous, tastes great, but now it's thicker to help with long-term storage, and it's so small, it fits in the palm of your hand.
Oh, little baby squash.
I was looking at pictures of them, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. You're so little. I gotta look this up. I thought of baking one for Mookie as a little treat.
Oh my gosh. Wow. It really is like in the palm of your hand.
Small.
Like, you know those tiny little soda cans they give you on airplanes?
Yeah.
Smaller.
Yeah.
Like a little bit smaller than that.
It's so cute. But anyway, I found the seeds and we'll be trying to grow them.
I'm so excited. I would just put a bowl of these in front of me.
I would fuck up a bunch of these. Yeah. But that's my final topic. What do you have for me?
My final topic. Imagine this. You are in 1980s, 1990s, probably a young kid, watching TV, and then all of a sudden, the thing that you are watching turns to static, and some other weird thing comes on, and some crazy message appears on the TV, and then maybe a minute later, it goes away. It goes back to whatever you were watching. That is a television signal hijack.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to talk about is just some really interesting incidences of that happening.
Oh, cool.
For starters, analog TV is not really a thing in most places anymore. Everything has been converted to digital, quote-unquote, cable TV signals. And the reasoning is just because it's a better signal, it's better quality, it's cheaper to maintain. It's convenient because it frees up radio wavelengths for other uses and things like that. So since I think about 2009, radio, or actually I think possibly before that in the US, I forget what year and I didn't look it up, apologies. But
it's in that neighborhood because I remember my Nana being pissed that her rabbit ears were not going to be doing what she wanted them to anymore.
Right, and she had to get a set-top box to convert the analog signal. Yeah. So in the US, they got rid of analog TV. So nowadays, if you buy a TV that has an antenna and gets an analog TV signal, you will get nothing but static on every channel, unless you have a set-top box to pick up digital signals and convert them into radio signals for your TV. Before all of this, when we were actually primarily sending TV signals over the airwaves through radio, we had people that had the know-how and the ability to basically hack into TV signals. And the way this works is you figure out where like a relay is, because the way radios work is you have radio towers that bounce a signal from one to the other over and over and over again to spread it over a large area. If you point a antenna at one of these relays and you overpower the signal it's receiving, you will take over the signal. There have been a number of occurrences of this happening in TV in history, and I just want to talk about some of the really interesting ones, basically. The first recorded instance of this happening illegally was in 1977. This was an intrusion that occurred in southern England. There was a TV show going on, and it was an ITN news anchor. While that was happening, the signal started wobbling and distorting, and then this message was heard. It was a purely audio hijack. This message was heard. "This is the voice of Vrillon, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command speaking to you. For many years you have seen us as lights in the skies. All your weapons of evil must be removed. The time for conflict is now past, and the race of which you are a part of may proceed to the higher stages of its evolution if you show yourselves worthy to do this. We are now leaving the plane of your existence. May you be blessed by the supreme love and truth of the cosmos."
That's some shit. If I were given the opportunity to do this, that is some shit I would pull. That's great. I was gonna joke that honestly, I would make it sound like aliens, and that's the first one, of course. I love nerds.
Right, same. So this was thoroughly investigated by the Independent Broadcasting Authority in the UK, but the perpetrator was never caught, and the only consequence was really just a tightening of security at the transmitter site. So this was still really early on. A much more famous one that happened, 1986 in the US, John McDougall is an engineer at a teleport facility in Ocala, Florida. And now a teleport facility is basically a facility that is receiving signals from satellites. He is an engineer at this teleport facility. He's working by himself, and he decides one night to swing a massive 30-foot uplink satellite dish at the Galaxy 1 satellite, which is broadcasting the HBO movie Falcon and the Snowman.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. There was some interference on the signal, and the technicians noticed there was some interference, so they bumped up their transmission power to from 125 watts to 2,000 watts because this interference was so strong. McDougall increased the power again, overpowering them with his much stronger signal, because again, he's working at a teleport facility, not like he's working at a facility that has the most powerful satellites. Like, they can't overpower him. And he does this so that he can complain about HBO prices because he puts a message. Yeah. He puts a message on the screen that says, "Good evening, HBO from Captain Midnight. $12.95 a month? No way. Showtime/movie channel beware."
I love that. That would be like me going, "Hey, Bob Netflix, what the hell are you smoking?"
This was done by John R. McDougall. He was 25 years old at the time. He basically pleaded guilty. He was charged with transmitting without a radio license because at this time, hijacking a radio signal or a satellite signal was not a felony or a crime, technically. So as long as he'd had a license, they wouldn't have really had anything to pin on him. But he did get pinned with transmitting without a license. He received a $5,000 fine, 1 year of unsupervised probation, and then a 1-year suspension of his amateur radio license. But as a direct result of this, the U.S. Congress passed the Electronic Communications Privacy Act of 1986, which made it a felony to hijack a satellite transmission.
Oh, boo.
We get into a really interesting one that is still, to this day, unsolved.
Ooh.
This is
welcome
to
Headroom. Unsolved Mysteries.
This is the Max Headroom incident. I'm sure you've heard of Max Headroom. At one point, someone hijacked a signal wearing a Max Headroom mask. This is WGN TV, which is like a news show. There's a sports segment while a TV anchor, Dan Rowan, is discussing the Chicago Bears. The screen goes black, and then suddenly the TV shows a masked figure bobbing around and mumbling, wearing a Max Headroom mask for about 17 seconds before the engineers cut the signal. Dan Rowan returned to air suddenly saying, "Well, if you're wondering what's happening, so am I." Roughly 2 hours later, completely different TV show. This is PBS. This occurred during the Doctor Who serial episode Horror of Fang Rock. And because this particular PBS transmitter was on top of Sears Tower and had no engineer duty on watch, the pirate of the signal was able to broadcast for a full 90 seconds.
Holy shit.
The audio is heavily distorted, but distinct phrases can be heard. So this is Max Headroom with a background that looks like almost like a radiator, but it's like lilting back and forth. Very trippy and creepy. And this guy's wearing a rubber mask, and he's like bobbing back and forth, saying weird unhinged shit. So this is what can be heard. "He's a frickin' liberal, Chuck Swirsky," who's a sports caster. And then he says, "Catch the wave," holding up a Pepsi can, referencing New Coke's slogan. "I still see the X," which is believed to be a reference to the cartoon Clutch Cargo. And then he says, "Oh, my piles. Ugh."
Me trying to clean.
I just made a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds, referencing WGN's call sign, World's Greatest Newspaper. And then they held up a dirty leather glove, saying, "My brother is wearing the other one," before the camera cuts to him bending over, exposing his bare ass, while a woman in a French maid costume spanks him with a fly swatter, yelling, "Bend over, bitch."
Me high off my noggin. Yeah. This episode of Doctor Who is weird.
Right?
I don't understand what's happening.
And like, I should mention, I watched this video. The first like 20 seconds of all of this is just him like bobbing around and laughing. It's fucking creepy. There was a massive manhunt for whoever did this. The FCC, the FBI got involved. They assumed that the hijacker had insider knowledge or some sort of extremely powerful equipment. The agents even went through and analyzed the video frame by frame and drove through Chicago attempting to detect pirate frequencies, but found nothing. To this day, nothing. And the statute of limitations has expired, and still nobody has claimed it.
Whoa.
Nobody has provided any sort of actionable proof to say, "Yep, this was me." It was crazy.
Badass.
Absolutely. So 1987, United States, there is a porn movie playing called Three Daughters of all things on, I believe, the Playboy channel. Suddenly, a message, which is white letters on a black background, completely replaced the video feed. It says, "Thus saith the Lord thy God, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, repent for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." It's believed that the signal came from the Christian Broadcasting Network complex in Virginia Beach.
Makes sense.
As they were one of the few satellites with a dish powerful enough to override the Playboy satellite feed.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So a person named Thomas Haney, who's a technician at CBN, was charged with this, and he was fined, and he had to do 150 hours of community service. He's always maintained his innocence, but the evidence against him was purely circumstantial, apparently. So he probably did it. In Poland, 1985, hackers used a ZX Spectrum home computer synchronized to the TV transmitter's frequency, which allowed them to overlay white text boxes on top of official TV broadcast without cutting the original signal. So this is a different type of attack. Yeah, where you're basically you're adding to the signal. You're not overtaking it. You're adding on top of the signal. And they're using a modern, quote unquote modern at the time, computer to do that. They ran a message, which is in Polish, but if you translate it, it says, "Enough price increases, lies, and repressions. It is our duty to boycott the election." Eventually, the people that did this were arrested. It turns out they were 4 astronomers/scientists from the University of Turin. Supposedly, these are like anti-communist scientist dudes.
What?
I don't get it.
Weird.
It's really weird. So I don't know a whole lot. I don't know enough about Polish history to know what the hell these guys were talking about, but that was an interesting one. 2007, Czech Republic, a TV show called Panorama, which is like a morning show cycling through static camera feeds of ski resorts and landscapes. And then, oops, suddenly the serene mountain landscape is interrupted by a bright white flash, followed by a realistic CGI mushroom cloud rising in the distance. They faked a nuclear explosion.
Jesus Christ.
There's an art group called Stolhoven that said, they claimed it, and they said, media is not a mirror of reality, but a tool to manipulate it. That was their comment on this.
All right.
But they were actually acquitted because they were seen by the judge as performing an act of artistic expression rather than a criminal act intended to cause harm. And they actually won a prize from the National Gallery of Prague of $18,000 or 33,000 Czech Republic monies. 333,000 Czech Republic monies. I don't know what that currency is called. Kroners? I don't know. But they got a bunch of money for it, so that's great. This next one is not a hack, but actually an accident. 2007, May 1st. Disney Channel's playing. Disney Playhouse. Yay, we're watching it. 9:30 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. It's broadcasting Handy Manny, a popular animated show for preschoolers about a handyman and his talking tools.
I think I know this one.
Viewers in the Middletown area suddenly saw the cartoon feed cut out, and instead of the animation, the screen was replaced by a feed from an adult subscription channel, likely Playboy or Spice, broadcasting hardcore pornography.
Yes, I remember this one.
The explicit content aired for 5 full minutes before Comcast technicians realized the error and cut the feed.
Yep, I remember this one.
Yeah. So one parent, Paul Dunleavy, watching with his 5-year-old
Jesus
son,
fucking Christ,
told the New York Daily News, "It was 2 people doing their thing. It was full on and it was disgusting. I couldn't believe it. We try to do the right thing to protect our kids from this stuff, and then they broadcast it on children's TV."
I would be horrified.
The even wilder part, there was no lawsuit. Anyone who was affected got service credits, and that was it.
Ridiculous.
Which is crazy.
Really, to me, smells like this should be a class action lawsuit.
In 2013, in Montana, Michigan, and several other U.S. states, there was a TV show playing called The Steve Wilkos Show on KRTV in Great Falls, Montana. Hackers were able to access the emergency alert system at the station, like the system that's like a like tornado alert or what have you. They used this to say, civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. Follow the messages on screen that will be updated as information becomes available. Do not attempt to approach or apprehend these bodies as they are considered extremely dangerous. Nobody was caught and is still unsolved. All of this, by the way, because they were still using the default passwords on their equipment.
Oh my God.
A very recent one, 2022.
Whoa.
So this is not so much a TV signal hack and more of a digital hack that affected TVs. May 9th, 2022 is a Russian holiday called Victory Day, which is basically a day where they're celebrating victory over the Nazis. Ukrainian hackers took over the TV Guide channel on several different brands of smart TVs and replaced the descriptions on all of the TV shows with a Ukrainian message that says, "On your hands is the blood of thousands of Ukrainians and their hundreds of murdered children. TV and the authorities are lying. No to war." Every single TV show had that as the description.
Hell the fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was attributed to both Anonymous and the, quote, IT Army of Ukraine. So that's just some really interesting TV hacks that occurred. You know?
Can you hack it so that people watching Heated Rivalry get interrupted with me showing them how cute Mookie is?
You know what? I will do my very best.
No, you don't have to. That's fine.
No, the people need to know
She's
about
really
Mookie.
Cute.
She's really cute.
And can you imagine her eating one of those honey patch squashes?
Oh.
Hey friends, before I get to thanking our Patreon supporters, I would like to make you aware of a mutual aid opportunity. So in our merch hub at PolanaArts.com, we have a sticker that Violet designed that says "Fuck Ice." And proceeds of said sticker will be going to CAN-MN, which is Community Aid Network Minnesota. And they are a mutual aid coalition that has been doing mutual aid work here in Minneapolis for a very long time. Really, really well organized. And that is extra important right now as Minneapolis is occupied by the federal government and ICE agents, and our National Guard is here. I don't know what you're seeing in the news. They are making it seem like Minneapolis is no longer in peril, but that is not the case. They took out a few hundred of the ICE agents, but there are still thousands here. There are still people being disappeared on the reg. They're getting sneakier. It's not good. It's a very weird experience here right now, and our community needs help. There are people who have been unable to go to work. There are people who have, been stuck in their houses for a while. It is rough going. So mutual aid is the best way that we're going to help each other, and you can help us out here in Minneapolis by going to the merch hub and purchasing one of the Fuck Ice stickers. And as we donate, I will be making posts for transparency for the sticker sales. And now I'd like to thank our Patreon supporters like Harleen, Bethany, Laura Kramer, Lilith Rain, Janice Weston, Anarchista, Bethany, Percy, Nunya B, Kate Michigoose, K Genius, Chibs1012, Dave Peril, Megan E, Carl Brooks, Natasha Neves, Gus Lutzi, Helen Clifford, Sewing Seraph, Rachel Rachelson, Fintago, and Randy Lovings. You know the deal. If you want to help us out, you can tell other people about the show. We don't take paid ads. We don't pay for advertising. We grow entirely by word of mouth. And you sweethearts telling other people they should listen is entirely how we grow. It helps us out a ton. It costs you nothing. You could post about it on your social media. You could post about it in a Discord server, on Reddit, literally wherever makes sense. You can make your friend listen to it on a road trip. Say, listen to this now, fall in love, listen to them forever. Whatever way you promote our show, I'm down for it. Even some of the more questionable ways. That depends on the questionable way. I can't sign off on all of those. But anyway, tell other people about the show. If you want to help us out even further, you can subscribe on your podcatcher of choice and leave a rating or review if it supports that. Any action we get in the algorithms on these podcatching apps helps us get more action on said apps. It helps us get recommended to people who like similar stuff more, and it also makes the podcast visually more active, which people are more likely to give us a shot if they see that people are engaging with our show. So if you can subscribe, leave a rating, leave a review, that would be lovely. If you're in a place to support us financially, you can go to the show details and find a link to the Mixnomer Patreon page. This will be bonus content for everything Mixnomer does. It includes stuff for today's lucky winner. It includes stuff for Murphy Bay Magic. It will include stuff for the sci-fi show that we start recording in March, that I'm very excited about. It's your one-stop shop for the bonus content that we make, and your one-stop shop for supporting us weirdos in all of the weird art that we want to keep making. So if you're in a place to help us out financially, tiers start at just $1. And if you want to see what Violet and I are up to on social media, you can also go to the show details to find our social media tags. I've whittled things down where I'm mostly lurking on Instagram, and a lot of that's memes about communism and stuff about current events, but I'm there. But yeah, that's all I've got for you this time, my friends. Until next time, clever sign off.